Hey, what is up, guys? Today we are doing another Weebcast today with my good friend Anasazi, otherwise known as Teddy. Teddy, why don't you say a few words and introduce yourself a little bit?
All right, hey guys. Like Adam said, my name is Ted. He calls me Teddy because I'm adorable, apparently.
Yes, yes, he is.
General username for stuff is Anasazi. Um, I don't know. Started watching anime at a fairly early age. Oh my god, that rolled a legendary for me already. Don't mind me occasionally talking about Diablo. This will just happen because it's fun, I guess. And then what? Been watching a lot more anime in recent years, especially since Adam started getting into more as I've been just catching up, or trying to catch up. Surodere Children
Ah, yes, you are welcome for that
5 minutes
gem.
ago, so that was a thing.
So good, so good.
So yeah, that's I guess me in a nutshell, real quickly anyway, and been life.
All right, so then our topics today, we figure we do something a little bit different. Like last week, we talked about Naruto with Teen Teen. So today we figure let's do something a little bit different. Let's talk about some of our favorite animes, and
Surprised
characters.
Naruto's gonna come up again.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it will. It will at some point, I'm sure. Or blah, blah, blah. Sorry, completely utterly stuttered there. Yeah, our favorite animes, favorite characters, why we think they're significant, why do we like them so much? So Ted, what's one anime you really like?
So let's just hit the obvious nail right on the head. Is Naruto? It's the one a lot of us started out with. I know I did. That was the first one that I really watched. I saw a little bit of DBZ, like an episode or two, but DBZ was never really my cup of tea.
Yeah, I still don't get it, to be completely honest.
I mean, I enjoy it for like the exuberant, over the topness that it is, but it's just never really been my cup of tea. I don't know. I've just like had slightly different tastes for most things like that.
Fair
So
enough.
I guess just jump into that one. That's Naruto is a good place to start for pretty much everyone. Relatable stuff that we can talk about. And I think is it fair for us to not worry too much about spoilers for anything at least pre-Shippuden?
Yeah,
I
I
think I
mean,
think time's up on those.
spoilers, I think, will be more narrowed down to maybe like if it's something ridiculous, well, not even ridiculously major. I think for this one we'll just do spoilers, and the anime's been around long enough to where I think if you don't at least have an idea of some of the things, then that's I don't know what to tell you.
All right, fair.
Yeah, Naruto was my first two. I remember being like 10 years old, going over to my dad's house, be like, "Oh my god, Naruto's on! Right, I need to go watch it right now." My dad will walk down and be like, "What the hell are you watching?
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that man just stick his finger up that kid's butt?
Oh God,
Is
the
that
oh
just what
God.
happened?"
I'd almost forgotten about all of those instances,
I had a
especially the
lot.
ones with like Izumi Sensei and stuff, was it? But
I had a lot of explaining to do.
I guess.
But I think Naruto is a very easy anime for a lot of people to relate to because there are so many different personalities in that anime. There's like almost you could make the strong case is that there is a character for you no matter what your personality is.
I think that would be fair to say.
And they're all maybe outside of some of the girls. Sakura, oh, they're all pretty unique. So like for me, one character I constantly like still compare myself to, especially in terms of attitude, is Shikamaru. Like I was legitly him as a teenager.
The lazy genius.
Well, maybe not so much genius, but lazy.
Ah,
Genius is a little bit of a stretch. Smart, yes. Genius, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna open that can of worms. That's a little too much for me.
fair enough, I suppose.
Do you have any characters in Naruto that you were like, I
I
kind of like
again,
him?
same as you, I really enjoyed Shikamaru for a lot of stuff. I'm sure me, just like everyone else, was like, "Oh, Sasuke's so cool." Every once in a while. Uh, I don't know. All in all, I enjoyed pretty much all of the characters. The characters I probably enjoyed the most, oftentimes, were the ones who were the villains.
Yeah.
So and, like not specifically like Itachi and whatnot, but at the same time,
He was
Itachi's
a
pretty
true
sweet.
hero.
Oh, for sure. But like also I enjoyed the depth that they gave a lot of the villainous characters. Like Haku and Zabuza, for example. Super early on in the show, and they're already like spending the time to get to know characters that are, I mean, they're like referenced again, but basically they're never touched on again. And then they spend a lot of time both on their individual backstories as well as making them people that you can, as a viewer, like relate to. And eventually, like, sure, Zabuza, maybe not Zabuza so much, but at least like
You can
with
definitely
Haku and
relate
everything
to
else.
Haku for sure.
Yeah, ends up him being super relatable and having a whole lot of stuff that you can like see as highly redeeming qualities.
Yeah, that's fair.
Zabuza maybe not so much. He hits a moment at the end where it's like, all right, he wasn't all like a bastard.
He wasn't all that much of a bastard, but he was still a bastard.
Still
That's
definitely
what we're
not,
trying
not,
to get to.
not a good guy. Like all in all, not a good guy. But at the same time, there was like, okay, there was some parts of him that's not like just angry.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I feel a lot of the same way with the villains. I think the biggest thing with Zabuza and Haku, I think if they did any other type of villain to start with, we would have had a completely different show. Like
That's
when you
probably
think
fair.
about it, they were like they even reference it during the Fourth Great Ninja War
Mm-hmm.
that without them, the show would have been completely different. Like Naruto would not have been the same at all. Like,
Both the show and the character, yeah.
like we would have had a completely different scenario going on about. I completely went in the opposite direction.
We did indeed.
Unfortunate.
But yeah, it's especially evident with like Naruto's character development, because like you can see from the beginning, and I mean you can either say it's because this is the way that they intended it to be, or it's because of the characters that he encountered. But the fact is that he began to focus on like it's weird to say, but he was like teaching his enemies where they went wrong. Or at the very least, he would go through huge strides in order to understand where they went wrong.
That's fair. I think one villain that even though we talk about the fight a lot, arguably being the best fight in the entire show, I don't think we actually talk about him enough as a character. Was how great and necessary Pain was.
Oh, for
in
sure.
Shippuden. And I don't think he gets enough credit for being a great character. And he's one of the... He's like Itachi for me in the sense that, I wish I could have gotten a little bit more, but he was the only other perfect character in the series. Okay, maybe other than Hinata, but that's besides the point.
And just to clarify, I guess, for the viewers or listeners or whatever, by perfect, in this case, you don't mean, like, best character in fighting or something like that. You mean like in terms of the amount of time spent developing their story so it doesn't like go overboard and stuff like that. That's more a question for you than it is a statement.
Yeah, like it's more of like, were you completely satisfied with that character? Because like I don't feel like the only thing I would have wanted from Pain is just maybe a few more episodes with him, but not any. Didn't need any more in development. Like,
Fair.
is where I was at. Because he was the exact opposite of Naruto in a lot of ways. And, like,
It's kind of
him,
funny
like,
with
hey,
a lot of the... Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's kind of funny with a lot of the again, goes with them personifying the villains and whatnot. But with a lot of the characters, you see a lot of parallels that they draw to Naruto specifically, but also to other people who are in the cast, where they're just like, see, we may be the bad guys and we do terrible things, and we may realistically have no redeeming qualities, but at the same time,
We have a reason.
there was at one point, even if there's not anymore, a reason for the way things went, and a lot of the time it's the classic we were ostracized and whatnot, and instead of finding friends and whatnot like Naruto did, they, found people who, or continued to find people who disliked them, or they found their refuge being not in like other people are trying to earn praise, but rather in violence or fighting or what have you.
Yeah,
One easy one to see is that they even draw the parallel a lot is with Gaara, how he got completely ostracized for basically the exact same. Okay, I'm not basically the exact same reason as Naruto.
Like wait a minute.
No, it's just like it's the exact same reason, and then and because of all of that, he goes and drives himself completely separates himself from everyone else, both in the village and who could be close to him. So it's just we may be a bad guy, and of course eventually he kind of comes around, or completely comes around. But that's a bit of a redemption arc for him eventually, and for his village itself.
To kind of give Gaara a little bit more credit before we move on to the next topic and the podcast. Can we talk about how, even though when he loses the Shukaku, the one-tailed, how badass he still is?
Well, I mean, he didn't become the Kage of the village purely because he had Shukaku.
No,
he became it for his drive and the fact that he was incredibly skilled with everything. I think the one thing that's worth mentioning at least about that is the fact that the tailed beasts can kind of commune with the person they're in and become a resource to them, but it doesn't take away from the fact that in and of themselves the people who are using them are also incredibly powerful.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but we don't, that was kind of we know this now, obviously near the end of Shippuden going into Boruto, but at the time we didn't really know, as soon as they tell us, oh, hey, these creatures give you insane amounts of power, it's kind of hard to draw that line.
True.
Of are they still really powerful? Because, it's fair to say, we can see that with Naruto, he was not strong at all starting.
Well, starting out, but also you had the huge amount of character development. I would still say that Naruto is a very strong individual, even in the world without when he doesn't have the Nine Tails in him. Mm-hmm. However, it is the fact that he is able to significantly rely upon the Nine Tails for especially the amount of chakra that he can pull and the power of that. But I mean, it's we kind of read into it a little bit, but it's that he would lose most likely a significant amount of power if he did not have the Nine Tails concealed inside of him.
Yeah, fair enough. Quickly before I pick my anime, best girl.
Hinata.
Okay, hello. Just wanted to clarify that. Steven! Anyway, moving on with the next one.
Your friend Steven's wrong about more things?
He is very on so many things. We'll eventually make a whole episode just what things he's wrong about, but that's okay.
Dear.
We still love you, buddy, but no. Moving on, and I think if I had to pick one anime I think that I relate to, or that I really enjoy, and characters I can relate to, this is going to come to zero surprise to you. In fact, you could probably guess it.
I'm going to let you say it to not make a fool of myself.
Okay, but I strongly relate to Toradora in a lot of ways.
Okay, that's actually a slight surprise. I wouldn't have gone straight to there. I'm not surprised you did, but I wouldn't have gone there.
You are still a bastard, but
You're welcome.
No.
It was for your own good and done with love.
No, it's terrible. But for those who don't know, Toradora is a love story between two fairly strong main characters like Isaka Taiga and Ryuji, but obviously Taiga being the much stronger character. Because I think Ryuji, for the most part, outside of a couple things, is a pretty typical character. Wouldn't you agree?
I'd say so, yeah. He suffers a little bit from the fact that he's designed to be a main character, and like many main characters in any kind of not even harem anime, but like love story anime, they're often designed to be able to be lived in by the viewer, which means they end up being left a little bit more blank. This is not to say that he didn't have a significant personality, but
Which he did. He did. But I think like for me, why it's significant because it's like that typical high school romance anime with a love triangle. Someone's going to get hurt, and I think no one goes through that exact situation. There's no way in hell you go through that exact situation, but I think you can draw similarities to it. And I think part of the reason why you're right about a certain character is that, and for me, I relate to Minarine the most. Because when I was in high school, I was in a similar situation, and I did something similar. Like, I didn't push my role in that to be the winner. I essentially let someone else win. Because someone else or the person involved was my friend, so I let them basically take that. Despite that effect that it hurt like a bitch, but that's besides the point. I don't have any feelings anymore, so. And then you, with just let me string along.
Hey, you misread it. I warned you. You did not listen. This is not my fault.
It still hurts. 24 episodes, Ted.
Yep.
24.
There was indeed 24 episodes of that beautiful show.
And she won, damn it. Minarine won.
Oh, except she didn't, did she?
Oh my god, but getting to why Minarine's a great character outside of the fact that like she did win. I don't care what you say.
I'm not saying she didn't have it won. I'm saying she didn't win.
She won.
She won your heart.
Yeah, I mean, besides the point. But I think part of the reason why she's a great character is like that for pretty much the entire series, you can't really guess what she's thinking. Because she's that very much that gung-ho personality, and a lot of the times they tend to hide behind that front that they're putting on. And like she's always working, she's always busy. She is very much kind of keeping herself at a distance. And then it's like that skiing trip episode where it really starts to unravel. You're like, wait a minute, do you actually like him? And like before that, you don't get that at all. I mean, you kind of get a tease during when they all go to the other chick's beach house, but you don't get any kind of warning though about it up until that point. And I still really didn't think, even in that last episode where she finally admits it, I still never thought it was going to go in that route. Like, I thought she was just a completely, utterly useless character, and then I was horribly, 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 horribly wrong.
You're welcome.
And that she's top 5 best girl all time. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. But no, if you really like the romance, the slice of life anime, you'll love Toradora. Have your tissue boxes ready. I heavily recommend it. Isuka Taiga is a close second best girl. But do you have another anime you really like that you really connected to?
All right, give me a moment. I alt tab and take a peek at my list because I forgot to put it on the second screen.
Come on, Ted. This was totally planned and totally scripted.
You're right. Scripted, right? Yes, that thing. Quality radio.
Quality memes, boys.
All right. So another one that probably everyone who's watched a lot of anime has seen, and that we really shouldn't be able to avoid. Full Metal Alchemist.
I didn't see this.
For me specifically, Brotherhood, because I enjoyed Brotherhood more. However, both
Fair.
of them.
I mean, both of them are great. I don't think you can really go wrong with either one. No,
I also saw Brotherhood second, which I don't know if that colors my view a little bit or what, but
I don't necessarily think it does, because I think with a lot of anime viewers, I think it's the first thing they see. Like and then they kind of like, all right, well, it's not the original.
I will admit, I really enjoyed a lot of the extra stuff in the original to set up their characters, because the Brotherhood assumes basically that you've seen the original for a lot of their story or plot points.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, Brotherhood is completely utterly based off the manga, and then Full Metal Alchemist, the original series, goes off on its own, because I think at the time they were still doing the manga.
Correct. It was written, or it was done while the manga was ongoing. So after a while, they passed the manga, and they're like, well, we're just going to finish the show. However, this means the ending that they did, I personally didn't like very much, and it did eventually completely leave the manga's intended plot behind. But again, at the time, the manga didn't exist, so it's not like they knew the plot anyway.
Fair. You know, I think I'm going to be one of the few people in the world, and I will probably be hunted down and murdered for this, but I like the original series more than Brotherhood.
I may have liked the series in total more, but I definitely liked the ending and the payoff a lot more in Brotherhood,
Yeah,
which
the payoff,
which I guess made me I like that one more in general. But
the ending and payoff, like, you know me, and for those who are watching or will be watching, Ted will be the first one to join in on this, or at least the first one to agree with me, that I almost always constantly degrade anime if it has a shit ending. Like, it generally loses a lot of points if it has a bad ending. And there are only 2 anime ever that I have still pretty well enjoyed despite having a shit ending. And that's Erased and the original Full Metal Alchemist. God, Erased ending was garbage, but
I still have to finish the last episode of that.
you will be disappointed, I promise you.
Wonderful.
But I like the whole premise of the original series more. Like how they actually, the memories of the people who were meant to be homunculi, is that what they're called? It's been so long.
Yes.
So that the memories of the people who are supposed to be transmutated actually were in that, instead of being a random creation like how it was in Brotherhood. Like, I liked that whole spin on it more, but the ending was so much weaker. But I think the whole build up to that point was just so good, even that last episode, that I can't take away points because of how well it was done.
Okay, fair.
And not to mention how great Riza Hawkeye is, but that's besides the point, and it totally doesn't fit an archetype of mine.
Nope. Of course not.
No, not at all. So if you had to pick a character or that you thoroughly enjoyed, who would that be?
If we're sticking specifically out of the Full Metal Alchemist series, I'm gonna say there's one that I very, very much enjoyed as a character, but I don't know how much he may have added to the development of the story, and that's Colonel and then General Armstrong.
This has been passed down the Armstrong line for generations.
Indeed. So it's just that he's a great character, and I love the shit out of him. However, I don't know how much he really contributed to the advancement of the. And my dog is going crazy. Wonderful.
Really?
There's probably someone walking by the house.
Can I scratch your ears through the mic?
So yeah, just with Armstrong, it's just like I very much enjoyed him as a character, but I don't know how much he necessarily contributed to the whole story. However, I'm not going to take anything away from him because God, he's an amazing character.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I completely utterly agree with that. Like, he's more of a gimmick than anything.
It's just like he was an additional, not necessarily comic relief, but like relief character to the main characters, who was like someone who could step in and help them understand some things, and was one of the few people who was like in the military but also not completely corrupted by it.
Mm-hmm. And he's very kind-hearted. He's a very easy character to like.
As his sister would repeatedly point out, being a weakness.
I don't find any kind of weakness. I mean, look at that curl on his hair.
It's been passed down the Armstrong family for generations.
It's glorious.
Oh, it's so good.
I do wish though that his sister would have been in the original series. Oh my god. Like she is great.
Yep.
But I think
Of course, when we say his sister, we mean the general, not necessarily the piano throwing, a little one.
are you trying to say she's not great as well?
I'm not saying that she's not great. I'm saying in this case, we're specifically referring to General Armstrong of the North, the Great North Wall of Briggs.
Jeez. Yeah. God, she's terrifying.
Isn't she though?
But she's so great. At the same time, I would follow her into battle anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think if I had to pick one character in Full Metal Alchemist that I really, really enjoyed, even if it is solely based on how I would be exactly like him, is...
Okay. Wait, is it Maze Hughes?
Yes.
I
would
knew
be,
it.
I would be exactly like Maze if I had a kid. So future...
You're just like, she's the most adorable thing ever. You need to look. You don't understand. Look at this.
Look at my child, damn it. Look at it. Like, I'm sorry, future daughter, son, whatever you are. Yeah, you're screwed.
You better be adorable, because everyone's gonna look at you.
Exactly. Ted, look at her. I would be exactly like him, both in like how he acts as a parent, but also how he's kind of I don't know if I have an exact word for his relationship to the Elric brothers.
He's basically the replacement dad. Like he's a very fatherly figure to them.
Yeah, I kind of want like I guess that's the easiest way to put it. I was almost more or less thinking like you've seen the Harry Potter, read the books, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of like picturing him more in the same book as Sirius.
Yeah, I mean that's the godfather figure who's also like not meant to be a replacement to their dad, but basically functionally a replacement to their dad, because especially with the Elric brothers, they're not super fond of their father for the vast majority of the time.
Well, at least Edward isn't.
Okay,
Alphonse,
fair.
I think, is kind of... We don't get an exact look into how he views his dad for the most part. I think he's pretty neutral.
I think he's probably of the opinion, and he's always kind of been the more listener character. He's kind of the opinion where it's like he wants to understand why the thing happened because he has no idea, whereas Ed is just like, no, the thing happened, so fuck him.
Fuck him and the horse he rode in on.
Precisely.
It's pretty much Edward's also, I think, honestly, a very underappreciated character. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Elric brothers as a pair are a very good character, because it's very hard to separate the two of them from each other, both in terms of like talking about how they are, and as well as the fact that depending on which one you're watching, they may or may not be additionally attached to each other. Ahem.
You are such a piece of shit. Oh my god.
What? At least I didn't make your armor must have cost an arm and a leg joke.
Oh my Ted!
What?
Oh my god. I bet you were waiting for that the whole time we started this topic.
I said I wouldn't make that. What are we talking about here?
You just did make that.
Make what? Did I make what?
Oh my god, I am done with you forever. Oh my god, I can't. Actually, no, I can believe that because my puns have rubbed off on you.
What do you? No. I've been doing this for decades.
Yeah, I Nautilus you the ways.
Nautilus puns again.
You're welcome. Oh god, Jesus, where were we? I already lost track. This is bad.
We were talking about Edric and Alphonse specifically, but a little bit brushing on Maze Hughes still, if you still had something more to say about him.
Oh yeah, like I would be exactly how he is as a parent. Like I would be showing off my kid. Like I don't care. I would be that type of parent, especially if I had a daughter who was adorable as hell. But I think also when he gets more serious is how I would act too. Like because when
he was
gets
a very
serious,
well-rounded character for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I don't view him necessarily as a perfect character, like, because it's hard to define that when you really think about it. Like, when I think of perfect characters, like Holo, Itachi, Pain, a few others, like, I put him in there, but also I'm like, I think he is in the shortest amount out of, like, all those characters, now that I think about it. Or at least, maybe not in terms of episodes, but in terms of total view time. So it's kind of hard to put him in that category. But, Jesus Christ, whose line is it anyway? Moving on to the next one. I think if I had to pick another anime that I really relate to, at least certain characters, or maybe not so much myself in general, I think that a lot of people could relate to is Fairy Tail. As ridiculous as it will sound, all of the characters in that show, much like Naruto, are really relatable.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like, anime always ramps everything up to like 12 because fuck 11, that's too scrubby. But because of the fact that they ramp everything up, this does mean that in the few mundane moments they give you, you're able to see huge amounts of yourself or other people in the characterizations of the actual characters from the show.
Mm-hmm. Here, one moment. Alright, I had to turn down the volume of the TV a little bit. Alright, so, but I think, the Fairy Tail really does ramp it up just so much, but that's why it's so good, and Ted, you just need to watch it!
Oh boy.
Just do it for Juvia. Please. Just do it for Juvia, man. She's your type, dude.
My type.
You are all about the crazy ones.
No, that's unfair to say that I'm entirely about them.
Okay, maybe not entirely. How about this? You are very prone to them.
I will lie down with a few. Oh wait, yeah, I do have a tendency for that. I guess that's what you meant. Okay, whew. Right, that thing.
Yeah, you know. Because you, out of both of us, have a very specific type. You know. Pink hair, obsessive, has a cell phone.
I mean, I will admit, I did enjoy Yuno Gosai as a character. There were also a few moments where she very much was not enjoyable. However, that's just the whole show.
I think. You mean enjoyable?
That show was designed in large parts, I think, to...
Do you mean not enjoyable in a way like you really shouldn't like it, but you really did?
No, it was actually more of a, I didn't really enjoy this, and I know that I wasn't supposed to, because good lord, what the fuck, you know?
You love that girl, but getting back to Fairy Tail a little bit, I think part of the reason why it's super relatable to me is not so much exactly how the characters, not the tragedies a lot of the characters deal with, but I think it's how they go about dealing with them. Like, I think I deal with Gray and his tragedy. For those who don't know, Gray is an ice wizard in Fairy Tail. He deals with things by, like, not really talking to anyone, like, more or less wanting to do everything on his own. Now, he kind of, to a degree, for those who have seen Naruto, he's kind of similar to Sasuke in a way. Now let me go ahead and say they are two very different characters, but how they deal with certain things, at least in terms of attitude, they are extremely similar on, and I think that's fair to say.
Okay.
But they are no other similarities, so please do not try to compare those two. You will look like a fool.
And for the viewers, as Adam kind of pointed out earlier, I've not seen the show, so forgive me while I don't really speak much, and Adam just holds the floor for the next 4 or 5 minutes.
4 minutes? You mean hours?
All right, knock yourself out, kid. I'll be here. I'll go eat dinner. We'll come back. We'll be good.
Jeez, I'll tuck you in after. But no, like, and it also, like, it's kind of similar with me too. It's like I relate a lot to Makarov, who's the guild master of Fairy Tail. He views everyone in the guild as his children. He's very protective. He's also extremely badass. He's the little guy with the mustache.
Yeah, the old guy. Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean, old guy? He's a young sprout.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, because honestly, you never know.
You know, he's kind of a young sprout. At the, guild master at the age of 90 years old. Can still kick your ass.
Oh, without a doubt.
Please, just watch it, Ted. But,
Since both you and my wife want me to, maybe.
yeah, see, happy waifu is a happy lifu, Ted. And you
Yeah,
have
that's-
an actual waifu now. Get to it. But, I think, like, so we're gonna go ahead and get the argument out of the way of who is best girl. It's obviously Mira
Whatever
Jane.
you're not going to say.
It's Mira Jane.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's...
It's Mira
sure.
Jane and then Juvia. I don't care what anyone says. Urza is great. She's just not best girl. I'm sorry, but she's not. She's not. There's two. I'm sorry, but what the problem I have with Urza, and the only problem I have with Urza, rather, is that think of any character, any Dragon Ball Z character, like who just win just because they're supposed to, and that is Urza. In a nutshell, she's a great character. In fact, I love everything else about her outside of that one thing. She's hilarious. She's adorable. She's scary, badass, sexy. What more could you possibly want in a character? I just wish she just wasn't so bullshit.
Oh, is she just like the God Hammer that they bring out into the show every once in a while?
Pretty much, like, I don't know. But Mira Jane's best girl, obviously.
I don't know. Just the fact that she turns naked in public is wonderful, though.
Yeah. And then Juvia. I mean, just if anything, just because of her ridiculousness. Her fantasies get so out of control, dude.
The clips that you have sent me have been enjoyable.
I mean, she only wants to give Gray a body pillow.
She wants to give him a body.
I mean, I would accept that. As long as Mira Jane's not around. Like, oh, hey, honey. And then she turns into a Satan and kills me. But come on, she's too adorable to leave alone. Like, you can't not. She's like Hinata and Naruto. You can't not love Mira Jane. It's impossible. Like, think of any reason to not like Hinata. And,
They make her adorable, and then they leave off her as a development as a character for like seasons.
but that's not her fault.
I know.
It's
That's
not
what makes
her-
it worse.
It's not her fault. Can we talk about like how of any best girl like ever, how she is probably one of the ones who get the least amount of screen time? Like, think about it. I think she's only in between Naruto, the original series, and Shippuden. I think she's only in a handful of episodes.
She doesn't see a lot. I would say it's well, her, just like the way we pointed out with Pain and whatnot, is it's kind of quality over quantity, insofar as that she doesn't show up a lot, but when she does, you really get to see her for a lot of time, and B, there's a lot of growth and development. Like right in some of the opening segments of Shippuden, they have her learning Lion's Palm and some other stuff like that.
I'm just saying, when that happened, I totally shit bricks when she learned that.
That was honestly probably what got me seriously into Shippuden again. It was watching like them give someone who had been a fairly tertiary character throughout Naruto enough screen time to have a major power arc, and then of course she was like a best girl already, and then a total badass from like then on.
Yeah.
And then the Pain fight, and I wanted to cry.
I just wanted to hold her and tell her it's okay. But ultimately she won, so it doesn't matter. Woo! Best girl!
Indeed.
Best mom, too. Don't care what anyone says. You need to
I've not
watch
seen
Boruto.
anything. I've not seen any
You need to
Boruto.
watch Boruto, too. Like, oh my god.
I need to
Also-
catch up on like the last 40 episodes of Naruto or so.
spoiler alerts for Boruto. Sakura isn't shit anymore. She's just crap now. Anyway.
God damn it. I should have known that was coming.
Hey, she moved up a little bit. Actually, you know what? I asked Steven this on the last podcast, so I'm going to ask you now. Oh, you know because he's a big Sakura fan boy.
Okay.
He likes Conan a lot too, so he's a little bit redeemable. But how cool, like, you know how they, like, kind of, like, think about how in all of Naruto, there is no major genjutsu user outside of Itachi, right? Think about that. Well, there's Kurenai,
well, I mean,
but we don't...
Yeah, there's that, and then there's technically Ino, arguably, with the whole mind control jutsu stuff.
Yeah, but that's not genjutsu, though.
Oh, is that not technically?
That's ninjutsu.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like, I know, that's kind of what upsets me, too, but...
I would have counted that as genjutsu, but... Pff, okay, show.
Yeah, right. But how much cooler would it have been? Like, the one big reason why I dislike Sakura, and it's not all her fault. I will be the first one to defend her. It is not all her fault. It's not like she didn't have any potential, but I think it's within the first 20 episodes, or more like 10 maybe, how Kakashi... No, it's during the Chunin exams, where, he makes the statement that Sakura really has a talent for genjutsu. Why the hell was that never developed?
That's a good point.
Like, if she would have been able to use genjutsu and been a major genjutsu user, that would have made her a decent character to me.
That would have given her a decent amount of power spike. I mean, it would have opened her up for having to be, like, more vulnerable due to the fact that if she's genjutsu, this means that she's not going to be as physically strong or whatever. And I don't know, like, the reason.
Yeah, but a genjutsu medical ninja
would have been impressive, but perhaps overly stereotypical.
Would it have been, though?
I don't know. It depends on how much you want to argue the whole feminine roles thing.
I mean, I guess, but so I feel like it would have made her such a much better character, because that's part of the problem. Like, Sakura had a lot of potential, and we're just constantly let down by the fact that she just doesn't do anything at all. Even during the Sasori fight, she doesn't win that fight because of her. She wins because of Granny Chio. She does not win that on her own. Like, oh my god. But she gets better in Boruto. She went from shit to crap. I'm just saying the most recent fight she had made me, like, so freaking wet. It was awesome, but that's besides the point. But I think this podcast is going on for close to an hour now, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up, and then we'll get Ted back on for next week. So at the end, I'm gonna start doing this with both Ted and Steven next time I get him on here. Hopefully get him on with Ted too, because I'd love to see these two banter against each other. But quick.
Well, I mean, we did the one time on the T-Teen podcast. It was like episode 6 or something, 5 or 6 maybe.
Something like that. We need to get you on for one of those too. But what I'm gonna start doing is we're gonna have, at the end of the weekcast, we are going to pick a random anime to recommend, and we're gonna say nothing about it. You just need to look it up and watch it for yourself. So Ted, random anime of the week to recommend.
All right, random anime of the week is one that I got caught into. It's a fairly recent one. I really got caught into it this last, I believe it was spring. And then they came out with like a Chaser teaser OVA during the summer, which was absolutely adorable. So I'm going to recommend Interviews with Monster Girls. It's honestly, it jumped up pretty high on my list, and it wasn't a type of anime that I saw myself sincerely enjoying a lot. And then
I bestowed the gift that was the vampire to you.
Pretty much.
It's great. I actually will bump that too. It's one of my favorites, definitely now. But my random anime of the week, I'm gonna end the podcast right after I say it. Arrow Manga Sensei, go watch it. We'll see you next time, guys.